Welcome to a day in the Word. Today's reading is Leviticus chapter 4 through Leviticus chapter 6. Leviticus chapter 4. The Lord spoke to Moses and said, "Tell the Israelites this: a person might sin without meaning to, and do something that the Lord commanded should not be done. For example, if the anointed priest makes a mistake that leaves the people guilty for their sin, he must offer a young bull to the Lord as a sin offering. The bull must have nothing wrong with it. The anointed priest must bring the bull to the entrance of the meeting tent in front of the Lord. He must put his hand on the bull's head and kill the bull in front of the Lord. Then the anointed priest must get some of the blood from the bull and take it into the meeting tent. He must put his finger in the blood and sprinkle the blood 7 times before the Lord in front of the curtain of the most holy place. The priest must put some of the blood on the corners of the incense altar. This altar is in the meeting tent in front of the Lord. He must pour out the rest of the bull's blood at the base of the altar of burnt offering. This altar is at the entrance of the tent of the meeting tent. Then the priest must take all the fat from the bull of the sin offering. He must take the fat that is on and around the inner parts. He must take the 2 kidneys and the fat covering them near the lower back muscle. He must also take the fat part of the liver. He must remove it with the kidneys. The priest must lift up these things and burn them on the altar for burnt offerings, just as he does for the fellowship offering. But the priest must carry out the bull's skin, inner parts, and body waste, and all the meat, including the head and legs. He must carry those parts outside the camp to the special place where the ashes are poured out. He must put those parts on the wood and burn them there on the ash pile. The whole nation of Israel might sin without knowing it. They might break one of the commands of the Lord and become guilty of doing something he said must not be done. When they learn about that sin, the community of Israel must offer a young bull as a sin offering for the whole nation. They must bring the bull to the meeting tent. The elders of the people must put their hands on the bull's head in front of the Lord. Then they must kill the bull in front of the Lord. The anointed priest must get some of the bull's blood and take it into the meeting tent. He must put his finger in the blood and sprinkle it 7 times in front of the curtain before the Lord. He must put some of the blood on the corners of the altar. This altar is inside the meeting tent in front of the Lord. He must then pour out all the blood at the base of the altar of burnt offering. This altar is at the entrance of the meeting tent. Then he must take all the fat from the animal and bring it to the altar. He must offer these parts just as he offered the bull of the sin offering. In this way, the priest will make the people pure and God will forgive them. The priest must carry this bull outside the camp and burn it, just as he burned the other bull. This is the sin offering for the whole community. A ruler might sin without meaning to and break one of the commands of the Lord. He might do something that his God said must not be done. If he learns about his sin, he must bring a male goat that has nothing wrong with it as his offering. The ruler must put his hand on the goat's head and kill the goat at the place where they kill the burnt offering before the Lord. The goat is a sin offering. The priest will take some of the blood of the sin offering on his finger and put it on the corners of the altar of burnt offering. He will pour out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. The priest will burn all the goat's fat on the altar, just as he does for the fellowship offerings. In this way, the priest will make the ruler pure, and God will forgive him. Finally, one of you common people might sin without meaning to. You might break one of the commands of the Lord and become guilty of doing something he said must not be done. If you learn about that sin, you must bring a female goat that has nothing wrong with it as your sin offering. You must put your hand on the animal's head and kill it at the place for the burnt offering. Then the priest will take some of the goat's blood on his finger and put it on the corners of the altar of burnt offering. He will pour out the rest of his blood at the base of the altar. The priest will then remove all of its fat, just as he does for the fellowship offerings. Then he will bring it to the altar as a sweet smell to the Lord. The priest will do this to make you pure, and God will forgive you. If you bring a lamb as your sin offering, then you must bring a female lamb that has nothing wrong with it. You must put your hand on the animal's head and kill it as a sin offering in the place where people kill the burnt offering. The priest will take some of the blood from the sin offering on his finger and put it on the corner of the altar of burnt offering. He will pour out the rest of the lamb's blood at the base of the altar. He will then remove all the lamb's fat, just as he does for the fellowship offerings. Then he will bring it to the altar as a gift to the Lord. The priest will do this to make you pure, and God will forgive you. Leviticus chapter 5. You might be called as a witness and take an oath to tell the truth. If you saw something or knew something but did not tell it, you are guilty of doing wrong and must bear the responsibility for your guilt. You might touch something unclean. It might be the dead body of any kind of animal. You might not know that you touch these things, but you will still become unclean and must pay a fine. You might touch any of the many things that can make a person unclean. You might touch something unclean but not know about it. When you learn that you have touched something unclean, you must pay a fine. You might make a quick promise to do something. It makes no difference if it is bad or good. People make many kinds of quick promises. You might make such a promise and forget it. When you remember your promise, you must pay a fine because you did not keep it. If you are guilty of any of these things, you must confess whatever you did wrong. Then you must bring your guilt offering to the Lord for the sin you did. You must bring a female lamb or a female goat as a sin offering. The priest will do this to make you pure from your sin. If you cannot afford a lamb, you must bring 2 doves or 2 pigeons to the Lord. These will be the guilt offering for your sin. One bird must be for a sin offering, and the other must be for a burnt offering. Take them to the priest. First, the priest will offer one bird for the sin offering. The priest will pull the bird's head from its neck, but he will not pull it off completely. The priest will sprinkle the blood from the sin offering on the side of the altar. Then he will pour out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. Then he will offer the second bird according to the rules for a burnt offering. The priest will do this to make you pure from the sin you did, and God will forgive you. If you cannot afford 2 doves or 2 pigeons, you must bring 8 cups of fine flour as your sin offering. You must not put oil or frankincense on the flour, because it is a sin offering. You must bring the flour to the priest. The priest will take a handful of the flour as the memorial offering and bring it to the altar as a gift to the Lord. It is a sin offering. The priest will do this to make you pure, and God will forgive you. The part that is left will belong to the priest, just as a regular grain offering. The Lord gave this command to Moses for the people. You might promise to give something to the Lord. You might sin against me without meaning to by not giving what you promised. If you do that, you must bring a ram that has nothing wrong with it, or the same amount in silver using the official measure. as a guilt offering. You must give what you promise and add 1/5 of that amount as a fine. Give it to the priest, and he will use the ram to make you pure, and God will forgive you. If you sin and break any of the commands that the Lord said must not be done, you are guilty. Even if you did not know about it, you are still responsible for your sin. You must bring a ram that has nothing wrong with it or the same amount in silver to the priest. The priest will offer the ram, and God will forgive you for the sin you did without knowing it. You are guilty, and you must pay the guilt offering to the Lord. Leviticus chapter 6. The Lord told Moses these rules for the people. You are guilty of sin against the Lord when you do any of these things. When you lie about what happened to something you were taking care of for someone else. When you lie about a deposit you received. When you steal something. When you cheat someone. When you find something that was lost and lie about having it. When you fail to keep a promise, or when you do any other bad things like these. If you do any of these things, you are guilty of doing wrong. You must give back whatever you stole or whatever you took by cheating. You must return whatever you took that another person asked you to hold, or whatever you found and lied about having, or whatever you made a false promise about. You must pay the full price and then add 1/5 of that amount as a fine and give it all to the true owner. You must also bring a ram to the Lord that has nothing wrong with it, or the same amount in silver, to the priest. Then the priest will go to the Lord to make you pure, and God will forgive you for whichever of these things you did that made you guilty. The Lord said to Moses, give this command to Aaron and his sons. This is a law of the burnt offering. The burnt offering must stay on the hearth of the altar all night until morning. The altar's fire must be kept burning. The priest must change clothes and put on the special linen underwear and linen robe. Then he must gather up the ashes from the fire and burnt offerings and set them down by the altar. Then he must take off the special clothes and put on the other clothes and carry the ashes outside the camp to a special place that is pure. The fire that was started on the altar must never be allowed to stop burning. Every morning the priest must put wood on the altar. They must arrange the burnt offerings on the wood, and they must burn the fat of the fellowship offerings on it. That fire must always be kept burning on the altar. It must never be allowed to stop burning. This is a law for the grain offering. The sons of Aaron will bring it to the front of the altar as an offering to the Lord. There must be some oil and frankincense on the grain offering. The priest will take a handful of fine flour from the grain offering and burn it on the altar as a sweet smelling memorial offering to the Lord. Aaron and his sons will use the rest of that grain to make bread without yeast. This must be eaten in a holy place, in the courtyard around the meeting tent. I have given this part of the grain offering as the priest's share of the gifts offered to me. Like the sin offering and the guilt offering, it is most holy. It must not be baked with yeast. Any male descendant of Aaron may eat from these gifts to the Lord. This is their share forever throughout your generations. Whatever touches these offerings will be made holy. The Lord said to Moses, this is the offering that Aaron and his sons must bring to the Lord when Aaron is anointed to be the high priest. They must bring 8 cups of fine flour for a grain offering. This will be offered at the times of the daily offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. The fine flour must be mixed with oil and baked on a pan. After it is cooked, you must bring it in, break it into pieces, and offer it as a sweet smelling gift to the Lord. In the future, when Aaron's descendants take their place as the anointed priests, they will continue to make this grain offering to the Lord. This rule will continue forever. The grain offering must be completely burned for the Lord. Every grain offering that a priest gives must be completely burned. It must not be eaten. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons, this is the law of the sin offering. The sin offering must be killed in the place where the burnt offering is killed before the Lord. It is most holy. The priest who offers the sin offering must eat it, but he must eat it in a holy place in the courtyard around the meeting tent. Touching the meat of the sin offering makes a person or a thing holy. If any of the sprinkled blood falls on a person's clothes, you must wash the clothes in a holy place. If the sin offering was boiled in a clay pot, the pot must be broken. If the sin offering was boiled in a bronze pot, the pot must be washed and rinsed in water. Any male in a priest's family may eat the sin offering. It is very holy. But if the blood of the sin offering was taken into the meeting tent and used in the holy place to make people pure, that sin offering must not be eaten. It must be completely burned in the fire. Thank you for joining A Day in the Word Bible in a Year series. Please subscribe, comment, like, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Until next time, Shalom.